Hello, welcome to this episode of Conversations with UX Copenhagen. I am really happy to have with me Julia. Should I try to say your name?
If you dare to.
Is that Greek?
Yeah, it's Greek.
Yeah, but you're in Norway.
Yes, I'm a Norwegian, but my name is Greek.
Okay, that's great. Why not? No, and Julie actually just sent me a talk proposal recently and would have been an excellent fit for the conference, except for the fact that, our speaker list is already full. But we had a really great conversation anyway, and I thought it was really relevant to bring it to Conversations with UX Copenhagen. So Julie, and before we start, I always say that UX Copenhagen is a safe space for everybody. So anybody, taking part in either Conversations with UX Copenhagen or the conference is agreeing to our code of conduct, and that it's a safe space for everybody to voice their own opinions. But Julie, so tell me about your talk proposal, please.
Well, recently, my company, or where I work, that is in Meta, it's a tech company, a consultant company. We arranged this Giga Hackathon, and I'm in so many meetings, and I see so many times that we are kind of just chatting around the table. And we need to drive change to make things happen. The climate crisis is here, and we are in a bit of a hurry. And I think change is something that takes time, and we don't really have that much time, right? So we need to see, or we need to look at other ways to work together. So in these meetings where I'm in, it's either board meetings or just kind of not making anything out of these meetings. So having different disciplines, working cross-functional, and starting to work together with design thinking methodology, that is where the magic happens. So in Meta, with this Giga Hackathon, we are now 300 consultants. And annually, we arrange this hackathon. You can call it whatever you want, but it's a brainstorm. You can make a demo. You work like really intense for 5 hours. And that is where the magic happens. So let me tell you a little bit about this year's hackathon. We invited one of the largest energy and telecom companies in Norway into 1 day of craziness, because that's what it is. It's a lot of people, it's a lot of planning, and it's a lot of thoughts. Using design thinking to facilitate, to bring these people together, you need to have a lot of fun to be able to do something that day. So kind of pausing this regular everyday routine work life and turning it all upside down, and bringing people that normally wouldn't be working together just to sit there and talk, have ideas down, and all through these kind of themes that we had worked out before the hackathon. So Eidsiva, they came with 6 different challenges for the future of green energy. And a lot of these were solved that day, and they are even going to come true, that they will be projects and they will make a change for Eidsiva. And last year we had a similar hackathon with the textile industry. It was a cluster called NF. And as we all know, the textile industry is one of the worst industries, for the climate crisis. And imagine if we could use our brain power just to do something. So we had 1 day, we set people together who's normally outside at the client's locations, bringing all of these brain powers in, and also with the textile brains to really look into, what can we do. And 4 of those 6 topics were also, it came true to this year. One theme was, how to use a lot of fabric, and you can, in Norway, when you send a bottle, you can get money for exchange. How do you call that? Do you use that in Denmark too?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So Tomra, it's an international company. They have now made this solution. So by just kind of giving adding spark, adding energy into people, that's what makes change. And that's the way to, speed it up. But it's that kind of hitting that pause button.
And giving people empowerment, right?
Yeah.
By making them part of the solution, you give them empowerment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a challenge to hit that pause button, because it costs. It's a cost, and it's a lot of time. If you are 20 people or 200, it's time.
Yeah.
So, but Helle, have you ever met somebody who gave you that spark, that energy, that motivated you to do something?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Like every year I meet so many exciting speakers like you guys, but what you were just saying made me think instantly of Trevor Swart, who was part of 2020, which was, that was quite a different conference. We had 18 days to go from a fully paid, everything was arranged, physical conference in March of 2020 to convert the whole thing to digital. So, but Trevor was with us from South Africa, and he told us about how I think it was in Cape Town, South Africa, or one of the towns in South Africa. Forgive me for not remembering which one, but they had a crisis with water. And they were saying that they were going to have to, shut off the water supplies and ration water for people. And Trevor and his team at AUX came up with a gamification solution where, they made an app and made people, compete against who was saving most water. And actually this whole thing, just saved the crisis. And now, now it's back to normal. So people are still saving, but there's not, the municipalities are not threatening to shut off the water. So, that is like total empowerment to me, where you're just like involving the users, letting them know that this is a real crisis and it's going to have an effect on both your health and your, well-being and everything. And then, but if you get involved, then we can stop this together, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think for the future, we need more, people coming together and having that spark, having that motivation, and they need to thrive,
Yeah, definitely. And what's also interesting is we're going to be talking about this at the conference as well, is the social tipping point, where I hear a lot of people say, but it's just me, what difference does it make if I'm returning my plastic bottles and getting my 1 kroner back, or recycling garbage or whatever it may be. It's just me. It's just a drop of water in the ocean, right? But still, the social tipping point says that up until 25% is a really steep incline. But once you have 25% of people like on your side, then the step up to 75% is a really short ride. So, that's the point where your one little voice does make a difference,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love to turn things upside down. And during the COVID period, not much things were happening. And I have kids. I have 2 kids. And I thought, just a normal Tuesday, a boring Tuesday. We were having dinner, and I told them, well, invite 2 of your friends who were in the same court, the same group, right? Remember the small groups?
Yep.
So I tell them that, for today's dinner, you're not going to have, food first. You're actually starting with desserts because we're doing a backwards dinner. And they looked at me almost like pale, and they didn't understand, because usually we're pretty strict on, food first and then some sugar. But this day I walked backwards serving dinner. They started with dessert. They almost didn't dare to eat the sweets. And then the burgers came and I flipped them over. Everything was just backwards. And they talk about this 3 years after. They talk about it with friends, and we're known as, the backwards people, right? So it's, again, with this pause button, and it doesn't matter if you go to Disney World or whatever, you can create something just by doing something unexpected, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we try to do this in work life, or, daily life, I think we can see, change.
Yeah, forcing people to see things in a different way.
And especially UX designers, design thinkers, we have this toolbox. We have processes, we have methods. We have to use them and use the empathy to see what is required now in this room. Is it, candy, or is it me dancing on the table?
Yeah.
To look into that toolbox.
Well, I will look forward to that in March, Julie. Dancing on the table. Julie's going to come to Copenhagen.
Walking backwards onto the stage.
Yeah. So when we have you on stage next year, here's some ideas. Yeah. Oh, this is great. So yeah, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is for that hackathon you were talking about, how do you get people to take the time off to participate? Because that's a lot of time, as you were saying.
Yeah, we forced them.
Okay.
When you are a consultant, you spend every year, every day out. Often you are in a team with other colleagues from your company, or you are just a single person, working with other companies. And we had the need to gather all of the consultants and making our DNA and working us get to know each other better. So the idea just came out of that. And then doing that all the time, didn't give us more than just, to hang out. So we needed something of a challenge that we could, crack a nut together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people, they enjoy this day. They enjoy having the possibility to see other colleagues they don't really do. And also to bring in a greater good for society, because that's also a big part of this hackathon. You need to give something back to the society, and we have brain power, and we will, contribute in our way.
Mm-hmm. Sounds fantastic. We're having a big co-design event the day before the conference on the 19th of March. And it's going to be about e-commerce and sustainability and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's also, it's going to be a fun thing. And what else? I was going to ask you about your background also. How did you get into UX?
Well, I'm actually an art historian.
Oh.
So, well, I've always enjoyed drawing and being creative. And I got into art history, and I thought, let's just do the theory. But I realized that reading about artists wasn't my thing. I wanted to do it myself. So in 2007, it was only graphic design. You know, you didn't have anything called UX design, or it was web design.
Yeah.
So after doing the graphic design part, it was a financial crisis in Norway, and I couldn't get a job. So I ended up studying like the web design part and programming, and you know, doing C# and building stuff in databases and all these technical things that I kind of thought it was very Greek to me. But it was really, really my way into the UX, combining interaction and graphic design, UI, and yeah. So I started working in a company called Logica, or now CGI, and had wonderful people, wonderful, great designers around me who taught me a lot of it, the things that I know today. And that was when I experienced the service design part, because that was pretty new. So I really wanted to follow that, to become a service designer. Kind of, you know, making that change in services or products. And then from there, it was more of the strategic business part of it. And now I work more as a business developer and kind of making the strategy in organizations and companies be something they do, not just put in a drawer.
Exactly. Yeah. And do you find that management is also, I mean, I know that you're head of design, right? Head of UX, but
Yes.
Do you find that the rest of the design, the leadership team accepts UX now and design thinking, that kind of thing?
Well, I thought so, right? But I still end up in this, what, are we not talking the same language here? If you can relate to what I'm saying, because I feel like I've been preaching this for so many years.
Yes.
And I just think of it as like, everybody knows this, but they don't really do. So to continue talking about what we do, not as colorful stuff on a web page, you know, it's not about kind of bringing the web design, making it beautiful. It's so much more. And I think the most important thing we do is asking the big why. Why do you need this? Why do you think that? Show me the data and I will help you, right?
Yeah.
For me, I would so much agree with what you're saying and my experience as well. I think for me, I'm also a graphic design by trade, but for me, that conversation changed when design thinking came in and UX, because if I am a designer, there we're talking colors and forms, but when we're talking UX, it's a whole different approach. But put that in the design thinking method, that changed a lot for me. So we don't talk colors and predefine stuff anymore.
Yeah, I believe, I mean, a lot have changed. But it kind of, if I meet a company and I have to explain what I'm doing, I know that they are not mature enough, and that's where we have to start. So baby steps. So being smart on how to introduce this without saying so much, this is design thinking. It's more like, how did this feel? Did we move from here to there today? Yes. Well, that's part of this process. It's kind of bits and pieces.
That's kind of the reason that I started the conference. Is I've been working in the field since, you know, I became I became a mechanical engineer actually in 1997, so way back. But and then my first job was as UI engineer. So I started in UI, and then I worked at Nokia at one point for like almost 9 years. And at that point, we started learning more about usability and all these different things, psychology, and how to interview and all this. And so after that, I kind of called myself UX designer. But yeah, no, but I've started the conference because I've always felt like I was, fighting for people to understand the value of UX. I always see myself as, this carrying this big flag, but going against everybody else, and so when I had an accident, I hit my head and I got fired from the job I had, and many years ago. But and then when that happened, I was like, all right, well, I've had enough fighting. I don't want to fight anymore. So instead of me just standing on my little, crate on the marketplace trying to shout people and shout to people and get their attention, I thought, okay, I'll try to start this conference and have other people, push other people up on stage and make them talk, So I mean, that was the whole point of the conference.
That's amazing, and I really applaud you for doing that, because
Thanks.
that's also about it all. If you have to deliver value or experiences in some sort or some form, and yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It was also because I knew that, after not being employed anymore, I was like, okay, nobody's going to be paying for the courses that I was supposed to go to. So I have to, bring people here so that I can learn new stuff every year. So it was very, yeah.
But it's also all about smartness, how to kind of find solutions into challenges. So I'm really, really looking forward to this conference, and it's also such a short ride from Oslo. So we are neighbors.
Yes, definitely. Are you going to be taking a train here?
No, I will fly, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should have taken the train.
I think the theme for next year is going to be commodity, because, if you have small kids, you don't have the extra, 18 hours to take a train or whatever it is, then you have to fly, So there are some things. And I'm also, one of the things that Lone and I have been talking about creating this year's theme is, how can we justify flying people in from the States as speakers,
Yeah.
where in reality they should be online, but there's just so much power in meeting people in person that and it's not illegal, so it's just a terrible waste, but we're trying to compensate in other ways, and support sustainability in all sorts of other ways instead. So
but the challenge now is also that streaming and the industry, the plane industry,
yeah,
they are almost equal, right?
Really?
So having videos or streaming is one of the kind of dirtiest things that you can do for climate now, and it will be even worse in the next years. The data centers that are built and the energy, the resources, the water, it's consuming all of the resources that we have, and that is a major challenge, because us as consumers, as individuals, here in Norway, we during the summertime, if it's really dry, we can't use that much water. During the coldest period in the winter time, it's expensive as hell. But the data centers, they go and they use it all, and it's almost like they don't have any restrictions. I'm not saying that I know, but there's just a gap here, and we have to be this awareness around digital pollution. That's a major self-esteem.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking a lot about that at the conference from many different perspectives, because it's something that you don't really think about, you know. One thing is, for example, how many pictures you have on your telephone, you know. And I mean, I'm guilty. I have like 40,000 pictures. I'm desperately trying to clean it up. But, you know, how do you choose from, you know, should I delete this lovely picture of my daughter, or should I delete this picture of my son? You know, it's hard. Yeah. But, you know, I'm totally guilty. And there's so many pictures that I will delete. But, you know, not just that, they're on my phone, but I'm also backing up to Google, and I'm actually also backing up on Dropbox. So it's like, you know, massive waste just from a one single person on a phone, right?
Yeah.
So there's lots of things we don't think about in digital waste.
But for the conference, for one of the breaks or several breaks, should we or you say, okay, during this break, try to delete like 10 or 1 gigabyte of emails, or go through pictures and just delete something, you know?
That is a great idea. Great idea.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I also know that Alistair Somerville is going to be speaking about growing into our futures, and he's going to do a workshop on day 1 that's kind of going to, you know, move out into the physical space of the lobby. So, and we'll be putting up Post-its. So I think it's going to be something like that also, you know, that's things great. We can do. Yeah, it's going to be great. So, but that's a really good idea. So yeah, I will definitely tell people, you know,
because it's the time that we don't really have to go into our Dropboxes or galleries to look into what we can delete. I find myself doing it where, you know, I'm waiting for a bus or whatever, but just bringing that into the conference should be, you know, like a small thing everybody can do.
Yeah. But you know what, though? It's also something about trust, isn't it? Because I know that I'm backing up to Dropbox because I'm not sure about Google. You know, at any time they could actually delete my stuff. Yeah. I just found out that that we use Spotify as a family, and that if, you know, I've made playlists and stuff, so that's nice and easy, and it's a commodity, I know. But, you know, if I don't have that anymore, I mean, they could just delete my account, you know, any day, and then I don't have access to that music anymore. You know, it's just, there's so many things about, you know, trust and can I be sure about this thing? You know, it's just, it's so unsure when it's not a tangible, physical product, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's better when you have, you know, an LP or a CD.
Almost, right?
Almost. Yeah.
Right? So even though we pay subscriptions to Dropbox or Google, it's still theirs.
It is, yep.
It would be great to have numbers on that, CDs and the vinyls, as all the digital streamings, to see the numbers for regarding the sustainability, of course.
Yeah.
And then I really love your idea with deleting stuff, almost nearly having a daily delete challenge. Yeah.
A daily delete. That I love that.
Yeah. Daily digital delete, right?
And for, you know, X amount of space you delete, maybe you get like a donut or a treat, or then you can go and have a coffee or gamification.
Yeah, or it just justifies something else that you're doing that's not as sustainable.
Yeah. Eat a carrot.
Yeah.
Not a tomato, because they're from the greenhouses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or potato or cabbage.
So I think it's kind of depressing to hear that streaming is also a terrible waste of energy. I didn't really think about that either. And we are, of course, doing both at the conference.
Yeah, but how can we, you know, we can't stop living, right?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But we can stop, we can definitely work around some of the commodity. You don't have to have everything served, right? I mean, you can work a little bit for some things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And it's just giving that time and space to do it. Also,
So
like
commodity,
yeah,
time and space. I mean, yeah, it's just there's.
Yeah, and also, as you're saying, Julie, that inviting, for instance, the textile industry, or inviting guests in or your clients in to have that day with that focus, because if they can do it in one day with that focus, it's not because they not want to do it, it's because it doesn't fit, that format doesn't fit into their daily operations.
right.
So giving them a day, a year or half a year to do that, instead of going out wall climbing and drinking beers with the colleagues or clients, doing that instead, right?
Yeah, and we don't need everything to be perfect, because change and perfections are words not matching. Change and disruption, or mistakes and learning, and just kind of jumping into it. I think if it wasn't perfect the first year, then try next or make it better. And it doesn't have to be 200 people either. It's just you have to scale it up or down.
You talked about they had 6 ideas to reduce or make it better anyway. Have you any thoughts or experience in how to continue that work after? So it's not just that hot state in that day at the workshop. Have you had any experience with that?
Because that was also important for us, that it wasn't just one day of hallelujah and then it kind of fades out. So we have consultants in these different clients, their locations. That's what we're already inside of that organization. If we weren't, it would be probably more likely that it just kind of fades out. So now the initiatives from this year is, they want to throw their own hackathon. They want to get closer together in the organization and remove the silos for one day, just to kind of, how can we bring up to speed to what is required of us from the society, from the climate. So that's one thing, and that was actually one theme, one topic, was how to work closer. So it's not only technology or demos that are made, it's also the cultural, between people in the office that we have had a subject around. And of course, we also had a lot of AI solutions, because one topic was about innovation, how to know what kind of, what are the trends in Europe or in the world when it comes to what Aitsiva we're trying to make here, and having something that gathers the data and can give a summary of these are the trends right now, so that they can always be up to speed with their innovation processes. So yeah, all these topics are kind of going into this closely project runs. Sorry, my English. To make it happen.
Yeah.
So better small steps and cultural than one big, now we're going to reduce X amount of something. So started small everywhere.
Small and different, small subjects that they feel they never have time to do. They just wish to do it, and it's on their bucket list probably. But slicing stuff up to, because if it's too large, then it's really a big chunk to have for one day.
Yeah.
But again, going back to Luna's question, because it's something that we talk about with the conference a lot, is, you know, you gather these people and for 2 days, everybody's just, you know, in this little bubble, and you go home and you think everything was great, maybe. And then, you know, and then it kind of fades and there's nothing left, you know. So how do you like keep people in, you know, how do you keep them interested in what they found out during the hackathon? How do you, you know, yeah, like Luna said, how do you keep them in hot state after, do you know?
You have to have somebody with the responsibility to facilitate each group, or and that should be somebody with a design thinker background, because I see there's a lot of people that are, you know, they're super smart, they're everything, but they haven't gone through the school of, you know, to facilitate and understanding what people need in a group. I see our processes within the UX field is great when it comes to, you know, following up, using Miro or other platforms to collaborate.
Yes.
And perhaps having like a timeline, because it can't eat up others' time too much.
Right. So appoint one person to kind of keep things going and, like, I don't know, I guess remind people like once a month or something.
Yeah, and for each group or subject to have a goal, super important. And if the goal is, you know, now we are trying to make a difference, but what we're actually doing is just kind of getting to know each other and creating a network so that we can, in some other direction in life, you know, meet up or
use them. Yeah.
Adding value to something.
Mm-hmm. It's funny what you're saying about using AI for, you said something like a summary, or I hardly ever use ChatGPT after I found out that it costs like a liter of water just to go onto the website. But so I was trying it because I was doing a usability report, and I had like these long lists in Excel or Google Sheets, and I asked it to, you know, summarize it for me. How many counts of this is in the list, right? And it came out with something weird, and I was like, that's strange, because I had like 103 responses, and it said, oh, there are 97 of this and 47 of that, and so I was like, okay, can you try again? And it came up with like 8 different answers, and it's a factual list, you know, it says numbers. So I was like, okay, something is really not working with ChatGPT.
Yeah. And
so, again, trust, you know.
Yeah. And
Can't
having a human to, you know, double check. I think we will not come to that they are just kind of, they're running the world, because it's these hallucinations that are probably like a child sickness that is happening right now.
Yeah, with chatbots.
Yeah. But also I see, have you seen Sora? Sora is videos, and it is mind-blowing. And I think about other disciplines and industries that are having this major competition right now.
Yes, us as graphic designers, with the background, that part of it is a big chunk of it is done in AI now. A lot of photographers, a lot of illustrators,
filmmakers.
Yeah,
but copywriters.
Yeah. But then again, did you hear about the whole thing where, I don't know if it was ChatGPT, but one of them had, you know, taken resources from the New York Times. So they were sued by the New York Times because that's copyrighted material. You can't just use that, you know. But where else are they going to get their stuff? Because everything on the internet has been written by somebody, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the future is with it.
Nobody knows. Right now, no, there's so new, so nobody knows.
We have an article here in Norway, and it's called "Internet er en flopp." But it's
Okay.
It's
the
a joke.
internet is a flop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the person writing this article has been probably made fun of for years. But this is almost like the internet when it came. This AI, we don't really know what will it be for us. We didn't know when the internet came either. But there's one thing I'm sure of, and we have to see AI as innovation too. You know, but when the books came, God forbid that women should read those books because they give you the wrong idea about something. When the camera came, when the sound in movies, people were like, no, we can't have sounds in movies, in films. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to adopt it, but I think using it with sense. And I really hope it won't take all the resources in our planet.
Exactly. Well, I use it daily, and I have a lot of use for it and a lot of fun with it as well. So as long as the majority of us who's using it with care and with good intentions, of course, as in everything, there's people with bad intentions somewhere, but that is in every level of everything, right? So
yes,
and we should just embrace it.
Yeah, and we have to remember that artificial intelligence is not technology alone. It is a large field. It's a large discipline, and there's so much that AI can do, but what we think of it right now is more the commercial part of it. It's the generative AI, and it can do so much, and it's done that since 1960s. So remembering the history of it, what it gives us, but not what it will be like dystopia for us.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's really good. Good connections.
It's always good at taking the perspective, right? As you're saying, with the books and the sound in the movies, all that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about innovation because sometimes there's a lot of influences just doing that, right? So we need to have the broader perspective. Yeah.
Take a ride up in the helicopter and kind of see it from above.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I definitely think that AI is going to help humans a lot, with surgery and all these things. Yeah. So, it makes it probably, makes our work more precise and stuff. But right now, I think we're still, as you said, having the, I don't know what it's called, the expression in Danish is also child sicknesses, child illnesses. Yeah. So like yep. So, the beginning, I don't know what it's called, problems in the beginning. Yeah.
But the scientists that, studies this now, they have continuously, they're mind blown all the time because the models they train, they learn so fast. And, each month there's something new. And with Sora, and it was only yesterday that ChatGPT came, and the developing is just insane. So we will see. I talked to a data scientist in Meta, and he said also that, in the beginning it will acquire much more resources than it will be in the future. So that's kind of a band-aid to that problem. So I'm kind of optimistic.
Yeah, for sure. So something else that I usually ask, and by the way, we don't have any other participants online. I think maybe, I don't know. I used to use Zoom, and then Zoom came out with their disclaimer that they, everything that happened on Zoom belonged to them. And so I stopped using them. And now I'm using Google Meet, and somehow I think I sent out a wrong link because the same thing happened last time we had a conversation. So sorry, but we'll put it on YouTube anyway.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. But we would usually take questions from the audience at this point.
Yeah,
but that's okay. And then, but something I usually ask about is, are you reading anything exciting right now? And it doesn't have to be something related to UX.
I'm reading Yuval Harari,
Okay.
his Homo Deus, and I mean, I'm speaking of mind-blowing stuff with the AI, but I really enjoy reading him. He puts it all in perspective, and it's just so interesting. Yeah. So I haven't read the first book, the Sapiens, but I will read it after Homo Deus. But the way he talks about death, like it's a technical barrier, that in the future, we have medicine, we have all these stuff that can postpone life. So even when he writes that today's 150-year-olds are born, I feel like, what will that life be like? Yeah. Will we have children as 60-year-olds because we live so long? If one leader, like one of the worst leaders in the world, will sit for 100 years, I mean, what will that make society?
Yeah, really. We have a really interesting talk about ageism this year.
That's cool.
Because I've been trying to get it on stage for 3 years now, because we have a growing population of what's called the third age.
Yes.
Right. So or the gray gold, or whatever you want to call them, but people are living longer. So, and these are people that we're not thinking of when we're designing, right? Because we're like, all right, as soon as you can't really go into the digital realm anymore, you're not really interesting to designers, which is completely wrong, right? Yeah.
There's business there. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And business and I mean, inclusion and accessibility and all that, right? It's so important. We had a speaker last year, I think it was Pete Neri, who said, inclusive design can be essential for some users, but it's important for all users.
Yeah.
Because all of us can read, people who don't have vision problems can read large fonts, or we can all use a handicapped toilet, right? So it's useful for everybody, but it's essential for some. So it's really important to include everybody. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thought that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Homo Deus. Oh, Deus. And you know what? I read an excellent book by, his name is Rutger Bregman. And it's called, what was it called? Shoot, I will find that one. But it is such a good book. And it's kind of along the lines where he, explains how things came to be the way they are, pretty much. Bregman. It's called, I'll look at this while we continue speaking.
Yeah.
But he went to Davos back in, was it 16 or something? And he was like, yeah, but you guys are all like sitting here talking about, the world economy and about climate change, yet all of you flew in here on your private jets, It's just
exactly.
such an incredible mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a double standard.
Humankind. Yeah, double standard.
Yeah.
Humankind is what it's called. Yeah.
I will look into that.
That's a really good read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned when we talked last time, Helle, you mentioned that Invisible Women.
Invisible Women. Yes. I preach about this book. Yes, I do. So last year's theme, 23, was based on the book by Caroline Criado Perez, and it's called Invisible Women. And it's, when I talk about it, and my husband's also like, what is it, like a feministic manifesto? But it's not. It's a very factual book about how, just everything in the world is designed for an average human who is male, an average male.
Yeah.
which is just wrong.
Yes.
So we
the history of that.
exactly. But Rutger Bregman actually speaks about it also, because it's something that I've been thinking about. Is like, since when? I mean, when was it decided that women are not, a human? When was it decided that males are the average human? And he kind of goes back to that about when we used to live in these bigger I don't know what they're called, but like the indigenous who would live in camps together. And then at some point it broke out and people started wanting to own land somehow. And that's kind of where it all started, because then, the males were more powerful and they, could cultivate the land because they were stronger and that kind of thing. So that's kind of where it branched out to the male being the normal human.
I didn't know that, but that's really, I can understand that from that day of age, or that time. That I tell my kids, because they're very focused on being like strong. The 6-year-old is, the Hulk. It's strong, but I tell them it's almost even better to be strong in your mind. Like, you have to be smart.
Yeah.
So I think there's this duality of, what are being strong actually.
Yeah.
But I learned from this first aid course I took last week that when we get a heart attack, they don't really know why, but we get like pain in our belly.
Yes.
Like this top of our belly. And why don't they know that? Because they know so many other things that's been
Caroline's book mentions this. She says that a lot of medicine, actually all medicine, is developed basically on males because their bodies are much simpler, because we have, hormonal cycles and we're complicated. So it's much easier to just test it on males, which makes sense because it's expensive to do research and so on. But, they found out that heart medicine for men is actually killing women because it's not working for them. It does the opposite. It has the opposite effect. So it's just very powerful read, and I recommend it to everybody, any gender. Please read it.
I will.
Yeah, because it's definitely not a feminist book. It's like, I used to say that it's like taking 50% of your target group and just not counting it in.
Yeah.
Just saying, oh, they're not important. So it's plain up stupid, not testing on diversity, right?
Yeah.
And this is facts. It's not like just look into women's history. It's facts. It is. We are equals. So why not?
And there's 53% of us.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but our bodies are more complex because of the hormones and all that, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's difficult, but that doesn't justify not testing on us or researching us. Yeah. So hopefully, we'll reach some people with this.
Inclusiveness for all.
Yes. Yeah. So, Julie, do you have any closing remarks? Oh, you know what? We forgot to talk about craziness. You mentioned it a little bit.
Yes.
But that was actually going to be the theme for this talk, and we kind of forgot it because we got all swept up.
Well, craziness. I asked the designers at work. I also asked the developers. And this was on Friday, and I got so many funny answers.
Yeah.
Because the developers said that it's, hitting the production button when I finish my code. That's craziness for me.
Yeah.
Like, and the designers, they had different, perspectives on it, because it's important that craziness and madness are not the destructive. It's not the meaning of being destructive. It's more being, disruptive.
Yeah.
So adding, I think maybe fun, unexpected fun, as I mentioned with the backwards dinner, that's a bit crazy. Because if you do unexpected things, if you smile to a stranger in the street, what happens? Does he get pissed off? No, not at all. You know, it's the opposite. So it's about using unexpectedness, creating good vibes, good energy, and spark. So
For good, yeah.
I think I will not, you know, say what craziness is. I will just kind of motivate you guys and all the listeners to do unexpected stuff. Just
Crazy stuff.
jump on the table and dance a little bit. Just dance, you know. We live now, so do the most out of it. Hey.
or create a crazy conference and not be sure if you can make a profit from it every year.
Yes, that's also craziness.
That's kind of madness.
But you create experiences that a lot of, I mean, if not a lot, all of the people that comes to this conference will have a good feeling or being motivated when they go to work, you know, the day after.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope they can learn a lot, and, you know, that we can, in our little tiny ways, you know, contribute to changing the world somehow.
Yeah.
That would be great.
We have to do the best that we can.
Yes, absolutely. Julie, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for coming.
And I will see you in a month.
Yes. That will go fast. So see you on, was it a Tuesday, the 19th? Was it?
Yeah, that's the co-design event for any ticket holders. And then the conference is on March 20th and 21st.
Right.
So see you there.
Will be, I mean, amused by coming and saying hello to you in person.
You too. I can't wait. Yeah, I hope you're a hugger.
I'm a hugger.
All right. So see you then. Take care, and thanks so much again.
Have a wonderful Monday.
And you too. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Just to cover what we had was strong. Find another one.